So happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you.
Anyways, so quite a number of things. I do not know if you want to add a comment or two to what to the to events that transpired yesterday. You listening and hearing that someone in the rank of the Chief of Defense Staff was denied a visa by an embassy here in Nigeria.
Well, I think as much as I wouldn't want to say too much, but I think the NSA has spoken about it and well captured. And I think it speaks to issue of reciprocity of respect, between nations, because somebody who is the Chief of Defense Staff, that's the highest military personnel, in the country, and it's unexpected. It's I'll say it's condemnable, and without knowing the full facts. But I think even for us, in terms of visa policy, it means that issue of reciprocity, as I always say, has to be given due consideration, because when as much as we're not ready to dabble into the sovereignty or sovereign issues of other nations, issue of visas, issue of migration management is it's a sovereign issue. It borders on sovereignty and right of every nation. But as much as we don't want to dabble into that, but we think that it's not disrespect to the Chief of Defense Staff. To me, it's without knowing the facts, it's disrespectful to the country, and it's disrespectful to us as a people. If that can happen to the Chief of Defense Staff, then I'm worried. For an average Nigerian.
I mean, Honorable Minister, I know that there isn't enough. There aren't enough details as to why that was done in the first place. But I did go to the Canadian Embassy, their website, to see if there had been some kind of upgrade, because sometimes these things happen when there's an upgrade on their visa policy, and there was an upgrade, and that upgrade was on February the 12th. And that upgrade actually affects a lot of people. If there's a change in a person's status or circumstances, makes them inadmissible. And if an officer, that's the person in the embassy, is not satisfied that the person can leave Canada by the end of the authorized period, and the document, or if the document is lost or stolen. So they had actually just upgraded.
No, but excuse me.
Some of their policies.
I'm so sorry to interject. Don't let us mix words. We're talking about the Chief of Defense Staff. We're talking about a man who is the highest ranked, highest placed military person in Nigeria. That is not just a person. As much as I said, I believe there will be back-channel diplomatic solutions to this. But we have to say this, and we have to condemn it. My worry, it's not just about the Chief of Defense Staff. My worry is if this, because you will not tell me the Chief of Defense Staff is going to abscond. Or the Chief of Defense Staff cannot, because his bills will even be paid by government. So to me, I don't see any rationale. And even if there are questions that you need to ask, there are back-channel diplomatic ways, protocol-wise, of solving these issues. My worry is not about him. As you can see, I don't think he's bothered. But I, as a Minister of Interior, in charge of migration management, in charge of immigration, who handles the issue of visa issuance and, of course, entry permits and etc., gets bothered that, hey, are we being taken for granted here? So that's the discussion. The discussion is to the average Nigerian, to that hard-working family who just wants a holiday, to that businessman who wants to go to Canada to explore business opportunities legitimately, to that Nigerian who all he needs is education, who can afford it. So my worry is about that average Nigerian, not just about the Chief of Defense Staff. Is an individual, yes. But if this can happen to him, then there's a cause for concern.
It's very important
I sincerely believe that, knowing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I know my colleague, Ambassador Tuga, will be on top of this.
I want you to be able to, sorry about that, I want you to be able to get your thoughts, because one of the criticisms that we've heard from that particular event was that the language that was used by the NSA, many people online and in many fora, they've said it wasn't very complimentary, that phrase, "go to hell."
Well, I think we should not. I think we should talk more of the action rather than the reaction. And that's my sincere opinion. You know, it's basic Newton's law in physics, action and reaction. But as much as I don't want to, as I sit here, I don't have the full details. But what I believe is that let's assume there are areas that needed clarification. There are diplomatic back channels, because we are talking about to me, this is the head of the Nigerian military, for crying out loud.
And I think that point has been made, Honorable Minister, because I also see here on the front page of Daily Trust that the embassy is saying that they'll state their position. So we'll wait and see just what the position is and what precisely, could have led to what many Nigerians have regarded as an
No, but for me, as much as I agree with that, and I don't want to really stretch this, my position is that if there is mutual respect,
that shouldn't.
Exactly, there are back channels. You are talking about a chief of defense staff. You can reach out to the office or to foreign affairs. The foreign affairs interfaces on behalf of Nigeria with all embassies and consulates.
And in some instances, by now, the foreign minister would have been summoning the Canadian ambassador to find out what precisely is this about.
I'm pretty sure, knowing the Minister of Foreign Affairs for who he is, I'm sure a lot of work will be going on the back channel. And most diplomatic activities are not on the pages of newspaper.
Absolutely.
Most of them are via back channels. And I'm sure that the meetings are going on. And I want to know, because I know the Canadian government has always been very responsive to Nigerians, so this coming, maybe because, as you said, change of the policy, but whatever it is, the status of the CDS has not changed. He's not a former CDS. He is the present
and serving
so
CDS.
Nothing has changed, but I believe as a country, the Minister of Foreign Affairs will take that diplomatic channel and resolve all these issues in the interest of Nigeria. But I'm happy that at least we have an opportunity to talk about this. And on the back channel, it's not just going to be, let's issue, but to the average Nigerian, let us be treated with respect.